Chapter 18. The word has come. Betrayal begins. The cross won't be undone. Jesus stands firm as the world takes aim. Through his obedience, salvation came.
Jesus went to the garden to pray. Judas arrived to betray that day. With soldiers and weapons, they came in force. Jesus stepped forward, stayed on course. Who do you seek? He asked them clear. Jesus of Nazareth is what they declared. I am he, and they fell to the ground. His power and words were so profound. Peter drew his sword, struck a man's ear, but Jesus stopped him. Put your weapon here. Shall I not drink the cup my Father gave? The path to the cross he chose to pave. Not by might, not by sword, but by surrender to the Lord. The Lamb of God, betrayed and bound. Through his sacrifice, grace is found. They took him to Annas, the trial began. The leaders conspired against this man. Peter followed but denied 3 times. Fearful of death, he crossed the line. The high priest questioned, "What do you teach?" Jesus replied, "I've spoken to each. In synagogues I shared the word. Ask those who listened to what they heard." A guard struck Jesus, but he stood still, committed to his Father's will. Bound and sent to Caiaphas' hall, the path to Calvary began its call. Not by might, not by sword, but by surrender to the Lord. The Lamb of God, betrayed and bound. Through his sacrifice, grace is found. Not by might, not by sword, but by surrender to the Lord. The Lamb of God, betrayed and bound. Through his sacrifice, grace is found. Grace is found. The leaders brought him to Pilate's gate, claiming he claimed to be too great. Pilate asked, "Are you the king?" Jesus said, "My kingdom's not of this thing. If it were, my followers would fight, but my kingdom's based on truth and light." Pilate asked, "What is truth and doubt?" and told the crowd, "I find no guilt throughout." But the people cried, "Barabbas release! Let Jesus die! Let this riot cease!" Pilate washed his hands of the scene. The innocent was condemned unclean. Not by might, not by sword, but by surrender to the Lord. The Lamb of God, betrayed and bound. Through his sacrifice, grace is found. Not by might, not by sword, but by surrender to the Lord. The Lamb of God, betrayed and bound. Through his sacrifice, grace is found.